Hey, good evening and welcome to episode 119. As always, we'll start with our gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, relax some more. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, completely let yourself go. Now, think of one thing that you're thankful for that happened in the past week. Once you identified that, think about why you are thankful. And now let's set it free. If you by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, tell it to each other. All right. So, in the last session, we began discussing karma. Today, we're going to continue with the karma series and discuss the laws of karma. By the way, thank you for all the questions. It helps me clarify my understanding. And based on the questions, I kind of planned out next 5 sessions on karma. We'll make sure that karma and dharma thing showed up last week. We'll dedicate a session to it as well. So, but the laws of karma can be divided into two parts: general characteristics and particular type of actions and its effect. And there are four general characteristics. Number one, the result of actions are definite. Number two, the results of actions increase. Number three, if an action is not performed, its results cannot be experienced. And number four, an action can never be wasted. So let's break this down, each one at a time. First one, it says the results of actions are definite. In simplest term, it means that once we create karma, we will certainly have to bear consequences of that karma. It's like if you sow a pea seed in the garden, right? You'll notice that a pea grows and not wheat. So it's worth looking at the main causes of different sufferings human beings experience. If we are experiencing mental disturbances, that's because in the past, not necessarily in this lifetime, but in some past life, we disturb the mind of others. If we are experiencing physical pain, in the past, we injured other living beings. If the main cause is absent, it's not possible to experience its results. The main cause of hunger is taking food away from other living beings. Again, not in this lifetime, right? So you say, well, I never hurt anybody, and I get that. But this could be in a past life. But when we are going through suffering, right, we don't see that correlation. We're like, it's not fair. Right? There's a big conspiracy against us, or the justice is being not served, and so on and so forth, right? That's because we assume that the negative consequences don't go far enough, right, in past lives. And since we don't see anything we may have done in this life to deserve it, we just don't see it being fair. But in reality, most of our experiences in this life are caused by actions we have committed in our past lives. So one takeaway is that quality of our present actions creates the quality of our future experiences. And if you think about it, that's kind of true, right? I used to tell my kids that you pay now or you pay later, everybody pays. Meaning you work hard right now or you work until you're 80 years old, right? But end result, it averages out. So you pay now or you pay later, everybody pays. That was my favorite phrase with my kids. Not sure it did anything or not, but and we put very little focus on this, right? That our present actions create our future experiences, that we tend to create negative karma for short-term happiness. But that results in future suffering. The second characteristic is that result of actions increase. This means that even a small negative karma can bring a lot of suffering. And a small positive karma can bring a lot of happiness. See, the power, it's like exponential as the time goes. The power to produce results of karma grows by the day. It's like when you grow an acorn, right? It's such a small thing, but one day it becomes an oak tree. So as the time passes, the karma results tend to grow. That's why it's very important to purify our negative karma. If we purify our negative karma, then it stops growing, right? So that's very, very important. The next characteristic is that if an action is not performed, its results cannot be experienced. We see this in the news all the time, right? That some huge event happened and few people miraculously were saved, or they walked away without a scratch, right? I remember 20 years ago now, almost 22 years ago, a friend of our 21-year-old kid was driving with his buddy and hit black ice. And 20 plus years later, he's still in bed and his friend walked away without a scratch, right? Because he didn't have in his karma to, experience that pain that day. So that's very important to know that without an action, there is no karma. So even if someone makes an elaborate plan to kill someone, unless they go through with it, there is no karma attached to it. The last characteristic of karma is that an action is never wasted. And this is very important to understand. The karma we create by our action cannot simply go away. We cannot give them away. We cannot wish them away, if you will. I'm sure we all had been in a situation where we say, I wish I could take their pain. But it's simply not possible. Although the mental action started, right? It has ceased, the potentiality has not ceased until it ripens. What does that mean? Let's say we kill a mosquito with a vengeance. That's like committing a first-degree murder, right? Because you have motive and you have vengeance. If all the causes for us to experience the effect of that action do not come together, those potentialities remain in our mind until it ripens. So sometime it could take a number of lifetimes before this negative karma ripens. Right? Just like, when you're gardening, you put a seed in there until the right environment is there, sunlight, water, fertilizer, soil type, all that good stuff, right? Until that happens, it's not going to grow. So appropriate condition has to arise. So the best way to avoid future suffering is to maintain moral discipline. Now, just because we understand the consequences of our negative karma does not mean that we are able to avoid them immediately. Because of our mental habits, some negative karma we are not able to avoid instantly. But we should be able to avoid a lot of other things. Now that we understand the consequences, right? We should be mindful about that. So if we try to remove all of this at once, we may get really tense, which is also not a good thing. We need to be relaxed. So it's important to remove these layers of negative karma one at a time, right? You say, okay, I happen to have this tendency of 5 different things. Let me stop this one thing for 1 week, not even forever, just 1 week. See how it goes. And then we add on top of it. Because the moment we stop negative actions, negative karma, we've stopped, our future suffering, at least moving forward. Whatever we did in the past is still there until we purify that. But at least we are not creating more negative karma. So that's very important to understand. So that's the lesson for the day. In today's meditation, as always, we'll begin with a focus on our breath. Once we settle down at our hearts, let's try to imagine that our mind is this deep ocean and our thoughts are the waves on the surface. The natural duration of a thought is 1/60th of a second. So if we don't pay attention to them, they'll subside on their own. Thoughts seem to be in control. But as we go deep in the ocean, there is stillness away from that waviness. So let's try to focus on that stillness of our mind. If a thought arises, we'll just acknowledge it without trying to chase it and stay in the stillness of our mind. Now, before we begin, one question showed up online, and I want to clarify something. That when I say, our root mind, which also some people call soul, right? Same thing. And when I usually use the word at your heart, root mind is at your heart. So that's your meditative heart, which is located at the level of your heart, but in the center of your body. So it's essentially just about an inch and a half right of your actual heart. So I just want to clarify that physically what we are talking about when I say focus on your heart. So if you're ready, let's begin. Please get into your meditation posture. If you are sitting on a chair, just make sure your feet touch the ground. Your back straight, spine upright, shoulders leveled. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open, so any stress you may have accumulated will dissipate. Palms in your lap, right over left, thumbs gently touching each other. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, let all your stress melt away. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, let yourself completely loose like a rag doll. Bring your attention to the sensation of your breath at your nostrils. Feel the cool air as you breathe in. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Keep your attention at your nostrils for about a minute or so on your own. Now, bring your attention at your heart. Experience the peaceful nature of your root mind at your heart. Let this peaceful moment bring the next peaceful moment. Remember, there is nothing to do. There is nowhere to go. Just enjoy. Now, imagine your mind is like a deep ocean. Your thoughts are like the waves on the surface of that ocean. As you go deep away from the surface, ocean is still, just like your mind. Keep your focus on the stillness of your mind. What arises, simply acknowledge it. Don't chase it, and it will dissipate just like the waves on the surface of the ocean. Keep your focus on the stillness of your mind. What arises, just acknowledge it. Don't chase it. Continue your focus on the quietness of your mind, just like a deep ocean. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Any questions? Yeah, no questions. I will stop recording.